Kyle, you were talking our ear off, so excited to share with us some wrestling lore about Hulk Hogan and potentially murder. Is he a murderer? Can you clear the air?
I have some thoughts. Yeah, I watched his JRE appearance. It's brand new, I guess, today. And I don't watch
For the
that
listener,
much.
that's a podcast called The Joe Rogan Experience.
Shut up, Woody.
Yes. For those who don't know, a podcast is so Hulk Hogan, amazing guest. I loved it. It was so good. And he was talking about the old days of wrestling. So originally, everyone knows of Vince McMahon, I'm sure. Well, his father is Vince McMahon Sr. So in Vince McMahon Sr.'s day, wrestling was there were these territories. And it was like areas around the country because you had local TV, not cable, like covering a whole country. So you owned your territory. It was almost like mafia rules, like you don't go into our territory. If you do, you're coming here because we invited you, and your guys will lose to our champion, and then and that's how we'll do business. And so when it came time to hand the business down, actually sell it to his son, Vince McMahon Jr., he's like, look, business is yours. Run it how you want, son, but don't ever mess with the territories. Promise me you won't mess with the territories. It's like, I promise you, Pop.
Fingers crossed.
Immediately he goes to Hogan. We're going after the territories. You coming with me? He's like, yeah. So they go into this one territory, and the way they do it, obviously, is they buy ad time in fucking Omaha or whatever and start pumping fucking Hulk Hogan's coming to town August 6th. The baddest motherfucker in the world, the champion of this place and that place, and he holds this belt and that belt. He's 6 foot, this 200 and whatever, 24-inch biceps, brother. He's coming. He's coming for the champ. Whatever. And the problem is the champ in this region has been champ for like 18 fucking years. He's this hard as nails motherfucker who doesn't put people over. He doesn't lose to you. You lose to him. That's how it works. And he puts word out. You tell Hogan, I'm going to kill him when I see him. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll let him know. You let Hogan know I'm going to use this. I'm going to shoot him in the face. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll let him know. And so Hogan flies into town or whatever, and they call him, and it wasn't about the threat. It was, hey, the champ came down to the ring today with a gun, and he tried to burn the ring down. And the cops came, and they kicked him out, but they didn't arrest him. So he says he's going to kill you when he sees you. And Hogan's like, so I'm fucking terrified because I know who this man is. He's a scary man. He means what he says. So, I roll in late. The intermission's already begun. I'm at a bar down the street. I've had a couple bottles of wine and, just kill the time. And it's time for me to go in. So I go in, man, my stomach's just upset from all that wine. I got to take a dump, brother. And so I head into the bathroom. And I got my yellow spandex around my ankles in there, and I'm letting her rip. And I hear the British Bulldog, who's another pro wrestler, yell, "He's coming for you, Hogan! He's in here!" He said, so I jump up and I jerk my shorts up. Don't even wipe my ass. He's like, I can't be caught with my pants literally down. And I burst out into the room ready to fight. And he's got that gun right in my face. And he says, I should kill you for coming here. I should kill you right here for coming here and trying to do this to me. But I need a job. And he's like, and that's how we signed him and we took the territory. And that sounded rough. There we go.
Hey there, Good evening. How are you doing?
Yes.
Oh, we got him. We got him.
Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, no worries.
I was just telling him about Hulk Hogan on the giving an interview today. He also said that the scariest territory was, I think, Puerto Rico. He said that going down there and trying to do business with them was scary. He said there was this big wrestler, I don't remember his name, but he was like a 6'8", 300-pound guy who he went down there, and he was the Rodriguez brothers or whatever are like, yo, you're gonna lose to us tonight. And he's like, not tonight, brother. And he wins against the Rodriguez brothers, and then one of them's like, hey, Domingo wants to talk to you in the shower. So he goes in the shower, and Domingo slits his throat, kills him right there.
Kills the Rodriguez brothers won, really.
And all the wrestlers who saw it were afraid to testify. He's like, so that guy's wrestling right now.
Fuck.
Jesus.
He's like, don't go down to Puerto Rico, brother.
I thought it was so much faker than all of that.
Yeah. It seemed like
This isn't supposed to be real, brother.
No,
it
it's
seemed
not.
like the real parts were real scary. He talked about the rooms getting like destroyed and stuff, where they'd go places and they'd be wrestling and they'd go and just completely destroy their hotel room and destroy their belongings. They'd get, security all the time. He's like, I'd stay with a group. He's like, you don't want to peel off and be on your own. Like we're at hotel, on the way to the arena, whatever. It reminded me of how scary MMA got when they'd go down to Brazil sometimes, and like Chael Sonnen had talked so much shit that there were Brazilians who were seriously talking about murdering him. And it's a dangerous place where, maybe people might mean what they say.
Honestly, that guy, though, like, I've showered with a lot of men. And
me too.
Some of it sports related. And if I had been asked, like, hey, like after a hockey game or something, the opposing coach wants to talk to you in the shower, like, there's no world.
He's not just the opposing coach, he's
shower.
The booker. See, it's more incestuous in this, not sexually, obviously, but intertwined, I should say, this business, because not only was this guy his opponent that night, because they're like, I don't know, the Rodriguez trio, the Gonzalez is what it is. I'm just using and I wish we could be more slurry on here. I can't. But he was also the booking agent. It's like your booking agent wants to see you in there, not just your opponent. And the guys, they just wrestled. They just did business together, essentially. And he's like, hey, he wants to talk to you in there and blah. Anyway, he was lured in there and
if he wants to talk to me, I'll be at the concession stand. Like that's how you save your life there, is you don't go into the shower with someone who is really mad and loves blades.
You become psychic so that you know that the person luring you into the shower. I'm sure that's not the first time he's had a conversation in a shower.
Taylor, you're wildly wrong. If someone invites me to the shower, I say yes.
You say yes.
No.
You're coming across pretty straight in this conversation.
I've never turned down a shower invitation.
It's the ultimate murder place. All the blood's getting washed out. It's an excellent place to murder someone, because it's like all the blood's going right into the drain. Like it's already clean before your wounds even come to drag the body out.
I don't want a slippery surface. I don't want to be nude. No, give me an asphalt street surface any day.
That's so
the murderer was dressed.
That's I wish y'all would watch that Vince McMahon thing on Netflix and see all his like. That man is wild.
I've never watched
loyal to Elden Ring
WWE.
Right now.
Would I like it, even though I've never seen even one moment of
me either
professional wrestling? Like none.
Never
of it.
A moment.
Like maybe I've seen a promo as a kid playing. It's a commercial, but like none of my friends were into it. I wasn't into it. My dad, parents, like that. It just wasn't something adjacent to our life. So I never ever watched.
When someone does a standout speech, I like to watch that. I'm like Kyle. The behind the scenes is kind of interesting. If they do a particularly good job on the mic, that's interesting. The wrestling, that's the part I don't care very much about.
Not even a little. I do like the bits sometimes. If there's a comedy bit, there's a couple guys who've done this one where they're in the crowd, like dressed as themselves. I think Sting did that. Sting is the guy who has a full face mask.
Kind of kiss.
He kind of looks like the Crow. And I saw a clip one time of like the fight's going bad for the good guy, but they're near the crowd, and suddenly the guy in the crowd wearing the Sting mask takes it off to reveal the real Sting mask and starts beating the bad guy's ass. So like stuff like that is funny. Sting used to like zip line in like out of nowhere. I remember seeing that a couple times. And then Hulk Hogan, man, how can you not? When he would come out and to fight like the Iranian sheik. I am a true American.
I only know that.
That's Hulk Hogan's song. That's his music, and he'd be waving a full-sized American flag as he came out, and it was like the Iranian, the sheik is in there, and he's fake praying to Allah, and he's talking about all this crazy shit about how Iran is going to destroy America. This is during the 80s. This is Jimmy Carter's era. Where we hate Iran. They're our number one enemy. All that shit had happened with the embassy. The rescue had gone bad. They held our people hostage for well over a year. We hated Iran. So like having the Iron Sheik out. That's who it was, the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik was an Iranian wrestling champion. Like they're like Olympic wrestling. and he had this crazy. He used not kettlebells. It's they look like maces. Those weighted maces. He had this whole workout thing with those that was crazy, and he was just huge. So that stuff I like. I like the characters, but I couldn't give a shit less about the wrestling.
I forgot I have seen one clip of professional wrestling, and it's of the Shockmaster. Zach, show this picture. And if that's what professional wrestling is, then I've missed out enormously because it's hilarious. I saw the O&A clip of them making fun of it. So show this picture first, Zach. This is the Shockmaster. Now, you can't tell it's 1993 quality, but that's a guy in a vest, shirtless, in a very yellow backdrop with a silver spray-painted Stormtrooper helmet. Not a similar helmet, not a design based on that, a Spirit Halloween spray-painted silver mask, Stormtrooper mask. And this guy was supposed to apparently be like the next big thing in WWE at the time, and he burst through a wall to introduce himself. And
that is
if you can show this picture, it's definitely not Stone Cold. This guy's name is Eric Bischoff. Is that right? Yeah. So this is his entrance. He was supposed to burst through the wall, but there was a 2x4 that was holding the wall together. And so all of the other wrestlers are like, "You won't be as confident when you meet our new ally. He is the Shockmaster." And then they all look over at this, and he bursts through, immediately falls flat on his face. The helmet falls off, and he has to scramble for the helmet and put it back on. And then he stands up and starts doing like the pre-recorded lines where they're like, "You are not ready for the Shockmaster," and everybody was laughing at him. And
they're not. You're right. They are pre-recorded because his voice was not a cool voice. So they have someone else in the back with a microphone, but the Shockmaster, the embodiment of the Shockmaster is trying to point and be like, "You are in big trouble now because the Shockmaster has arrived." But it's not matching up to the voice. It's like he's like trying to catch up sometimes with his gesturing because it's not him talking. It was one of the most pathetic moments.
Nah, that's funny. They should do more of that.
Like the fuck ups are funny. It used to be so raunchy. Like that's the crazy, but like it used to be so much tits and ass, like an impossible amount of tits and ass and crazy like dirty storylines. Like there's the one of the ones they cover in that Netflix documentary. Vince McMahon has this beautiful girl out there, and she's like, "Please, I'm so sorry. Prove it. Get on your knees and crawl and bark like a dog." And she's out all around. And she's doing it.
Can we watch this?
The Shockmaster?
This 15-second Shockmaster clip?
Could try it. See if it gets.
I think we'll be fine. They got enough legal problems on their hands these days. They won't bother us.
Who does?
I don't even think this is not WWE. This is
I thought you meant Google.
This is WCW. It's on YouTube. Make sure volume is on.
He's fat.
He is.
You thought that was Stone Cold? Come on.
Our fact checker said that was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone Cold. That's Stone Cold Creamery, Steve Austin.
Stone Cold Creamery.
What the fuck?
That's good.
Oh, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, that clip makes me laugh even more because even before he trips, they go, "He is the Shockmaster," and their intense wrestling voices. And one of the announcers goes, "All right," like just as he's oh man, and wrestling, just a world I have no adjacency.
Oh, here's a fucking funny one. Who was the guy who like killed himself and then offed his family too?
Oh, that was Chris Benoit.
So when Chris Benoit died, they didn't release all the details right away. They just said Chris is dead or something, like, or an accident, and Chris and his family are gone. And so they're having Chris Benoit Memorial Night at like the wrestling show, and everybody's saying all these nice things about Chris, and they're doing like they're playing his music and shit. and they're interviewing Vince McMahon. He's like, then it came out, and we found out, what had happened. A little awkward. It's like, fuck. Yeah, he smothered the child to death. I think 7 years old, if I remember right. 7, 9. And then I don't remember how he killed his wife, but then he hung himself. That was rough. That was rough. They always blame steroids, and you don't know what he was on. Maybe he was on something crazy, but he was also had so much brain damage, so much CTE that's got to be like a factor. Because a lot of people do steroids. They don't smother their 7-year-old child and murder their wife and all that crazy evil shit.
Dude, he bound his. I'm just reading the death portion of his wiki. He apparently bound his wife before killing her, and he drugged his son with Xanax before strangling him, and then hanged himself on a lat pull-down machine. I knew that factoid. Over a 3-day period, though. So, wow. It wasn't all at once.
Wait, he drugged his son with Xanax? That's not like a knockout. Does he just get less worried?
You give a 7-year. Yeah, but the dosage for a 7-year-old might not be 3 or 4 Xanax, which is probably what he probably gave. You know what I mean? He's trying to do that thing when they put a dog down and give him that first shot to let him rest, and then the second one to stop his heart. I feel like that's what was going on.
His wife had Xanax, hydrocodone, and hydromorphone. Yeah.
Zach's exactly right. His finishing move, everybody's got these signature moves that have names and stuff. He would stand up in the corner, up on the turnbuckle, and he would do a head first dive into the opponent. He would hit them with his skull, he would dive into them with his head. The move would always go, not always, but often go, the person moves at the last second, and so he would just headbutt the floor. That happened to him twice a week for years.
I feel like it was fatal, just in a really roundabout way.
Yeah. So Chris family too.
Chris Benoit, they analyzed his brain after death, and West Virginia University said that it was so severely damaged it looked like an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient. He had advanced dementia at 40 from getting punched and kicked and flipped on the head for however many. I'm guessing at age 40, you've got what? 20 years of wrestling experience under your belt, probably. So 20 years of that shit.
It's also about how they used to go. They used to go 45 weekends a year, and like they would constantly be on the road. That's why you see so many couples within the organization, because they were traveling so much. You kind of needed your wife to be a part of the show. It's almost like a carnival because they travel every week, and they put on that show every night where he's smashing his skull. And yeah, people who don't believe in CTE are they're right there with the flat earthers. That's crazy.
How could you not believe in that?
Is there anyone who doesn't believe in CTE?
How could it not harm you?
The owners of sports organizations.
Yeah, but they say that for liability reasons. They know what the deal is.
Yeah, we've seen no link. We've seen no linkage at all. Some people get CTE. Who knows? Did I tell this on PKN, the Hulk Hogan machine story? All right, so here's what happened. So we're all familiar, of course, with the George Foreman grill.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we texted about this. I don't think you said it
grill. Everybody's got one. Well, initially they contacted Hulk Hogan. They wanted him to endorse their product, and it would be the Hulk Hogan meat machine. Well, Hulk Hogan didn't get the voicemail in time, and they went with George Foreman instead. George Foreman gets 40% of the profits on every single grill, amounting to
who negotiated that? That's horrible.
And they're still selling.
He made $400 million on meat machines so far. George Foreman has they were talking about the monthly checks and how crazy they were.
Good for him.
Hogan, so Hulk Hogan, of course, is left holding just his dick, and so he thinks,
I saw the video.
Let's come up with a Hulk Hogan meat machine. Let's do it anyway. Let's just fuck them, right? And so they just made a Hulk Hogan meat machine, and they copied the George Foreman in every way, except the Hulk Hogan meat machine started fires.
See,
That
the
was the
Foreman girl
secret.
doesn't do that. Yeah.
That
So
was
it
the
was
secret.
worse.
Charbroiled.
Wow.
Well, it would really get all that fat out of your burger because it would burn your kitchen down when you were stoned in the living room.
Can't gain weight if you're homeless.
And so the Hulk Hogan meat machine was a colossal failure. And then he tried to transition to a blender. I believe he had a food processor, Hulk Hogan food processor. It also failed. So huge loss for Hulk Hogan. It's a real pity. And the more you find out about him, the more of a piece of shit he seems to
think
be.
he's
total
got
total
a lot
scumbag.
Of money, right?
Scumbag.
He's probably still set with money, not like I guess Allen Iverson or one of those guys.
He lives down in Florida. I remember seeing him at a tiki type bar, like it's like an outdoor indoor bar type thing.
Yeah.
And not wanting to bother him.
Well, he's like 80, so like Florida makes sense, isn't he?
No, this. Well, this was 10 years ago. He was a spry 75. I would guess Hulk Hogan is in his late 60s.
I bet he's.
my best guess.
You're pretty good. 71.
71.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've
he
heard
still
so
looks
much
pretty
bad stuff about him. Like he's the one who gave up the other wrestlers when they wanted to form a union. He's the one who gave him up to Vince McMahon.
NWO, brother.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's the one that gave him up. He's like, what else did he do? He was messing around with Macho's wife and stuff behind his back.
Well, we don't know what Macho might have been okay with that. We don't know.
Yeah, well, Macho probably didn't know anything at that point. But
What would Macho Man Randy Savage sound like if he was a cuckold, Taylor?
Oh yeah, you're gonna fuck my wife, and I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna jack off in the corner while you're fucking my wife.
Give me one of these, please.
Oh yeah. I'm such a little gay boy, I can't even get hard over here. Make fun of me.
Goosebumps.
Tell me I'll never get the title or the belt or whatever it is we're fighting over. And then Hulk Hogan's just laying the Hogan pipe.
You know that literally happened, right?
bro,
Like not with Macho Man,
yeah.
But so Hulk Hogan was in a cuckold type relationship.
I thought you came up with a random scenario for me to do.
Well, I did.
It worked. It worked.
I sort of did. Yeah, but Hulk Hogan was also in like a cuckold relationship with this like morning radio DJ in Florida.
Bubba the Love Sponge, baby.
Bubba the Love Sponge.
Yep.
Every time somebody says that name, I'm like, that's the guy involved in the sex scandal. Is that his porn name? And I think it's his radio DJ name.
Isn't that like a sports caster or something?
No. He was like a cheap version of Howard Stern.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I guess like he was banging this guy's wife. Hulk Hogan was banging Bubba the Love Sponge's wife, and Bubba secretly recorded them.
Well, Bubba said he could do it.
Oh, well, Hogan must have been okay with the recording, but on the recording, Hogan's saying some questionable stuff.
Yeah.
He's saying some rough stuff. This is the Gawker story. Remember, like this is what Gawker got fucking deleted for.
Yeah. They wouldn't delete his nudes off their website, and then he got them. Yeah.
Destroyed them. Yeah, that was crazy. And then he also had the reality.
A lot of money out of that.
I was a Bubba fan. I used to listen to his show all the time.
I don't know how he would. That's one of those things. Like didn't they just go bankrupt and say "fuck you"? Or
so does he get? Does that not affect judgments? The assets of that company, are they worth?
You would
anything?
think he'd liquidate them and he'd get their shit. I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. The main thing I got, the most experience I got like watching him was on his reality show. I can't remember what it's called. Keeping Up with the Hogans or some shit. Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah.
Dude, and it was him, his wife, his son, and his daughter. His daughter's name's Brooke, and Brooke's the one who was dating the black guy. This is the other time he got recorded when he's like saying he's like if you're gonna date a ninja, at least date like a basketball player or a rapper or something cool.
It was even worse than that.
So he was a little
bad.
bit. He was a little bit classist or wealthist about it. He's like,
he said it was
date someone with money, you whore.
See, here's the thing, Bubba the Love Sponge had a hot wife named Heather, like really hot, named Heather. So he was, short, little, chubby guy, hot,
literally
wife,
a hot wife,
money and stuff. Yeah, and he said he would say to, his famous friends, hey, you want to lay down with Heather and it'd be fun and watch and cockle and all that stuff, right? And he did, Hulk Hogan took him on his offer and stuff. And, he recorded it and then he heard all that stuff and everything. But then the recordings got out, right? And then what happened after that is that Bubba had a young cool guy on his show. I can't remember his name right now for the life of me. But then they found out later that the young cool guy on his show, who actually dated Asia Akira, the porn star, Asian porn star, long different story.
Hot.
Yeah, she's really hot. He was dating her, but he was also sleeping with Bubba's wife when he didn't know about it. So that breaks the cuckold rule.
What I'm hearing
that you
here
can't
is the
do behind the
Hulkster's
back.
a cool fucking guy. All right, almost as cool as Conor McGregor.
Wait, so the Hulkster said you can cuck me, and then he fucked the guy's wife that he got.
No. The guy
Hulk
who
Hogan was the
messing
bull
with-
in this situation.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
The Bubba the Love Sponge was like, I want Hulk Hogan to fuck.
Exactly.
Yeah, apparently he let lots of guys fuck his wife.
It was a thing.
Hulk Hogan spoke at the Republican National Convention.
Because Bubba could not keep up with her because she was this young hot wife.
Dude, Hulk Hogan, here's what I'll say. I don't know who's going to win the presidency. It doesn't look good for Trump if I was a betting man, and I am, unfortunately. But Hulk Hogan at that Republican National Convention was like the
weird
of my week. Oh, it was the most patriotic and American I have felt in my. No, it was embarrassing, and it was so much like Idiocracy.
It was
so much like Idiocracy. And if you people out there have never seen Idiocracy, go watch it. Great comedy. They predicted the future about 20 fucking years ago, and Luke Wilson stars in it. And seeing him rip his shirt off, I liked it. It was, if it had been like the goofiest thing there, or he had been the least notable celebrity there, oh yeah, we got all those A-listers, and then we got the Hulkster to come out and do the shirt ripping thing. It was cool, but it was like, I think Hulkster was the biggest celeb they had, and he was ripping his goddamn 71-year-old shirt off.
Dude, all the Hollywood people are libs. Who are they supposed to get?
But
maybe they should err on the side of not having former professional wrestlers tearing their shirts on screen.
Yeah,
if they
I feel like they should not
play
play in the celebrity game rather than just lose it badly.
Like
they always drag out.
Scott Baio's coming, Woody.
Kid Rock, Scott Baio, Hulk Hogan, Kevin
Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood bringing him back.
He's Chachi, for God's sake.
I have no idea who Kevin Sorbo even is.
Oh, Hercules in his legendary journey. Well, you sir, who's the guy who made Lord of the Rings?
Peter Jackson.
You sir are no true Peter Jackson fan,
bro.
I'm a Lord of the Rings fan.
Out of all the music artists you could get, you got Kid Rock. Like that's sad, bro.
Oh,
like
Ted, who's the guy who pooped himself to avoid Ted Nugent? What? Is that his name?
Yeah,
the cat scratch fever guy. Yeah, he avoided the draft by showing up covered in feces.
Really?
Well,
pretty gross.
Great American.
And you know what? If he would have showed up covered in feces,
awesome.
I feel like they wouldn't have believed it as much. Like he would have had to, because I bet a lot of people were walking in trying to get out of it.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm saying you'd have to do it in real time. Like you'd have to go in there and they'd be like, "Are you ready for war?" And you'd be like, "Go, no," and then you'd have to shit. And then they'd let you.
Here I go again.
Performance artist.
Here I go again, shitting.
Like what you're trying to say, if you show up with shit all over yourself, is I'm a whack job out of my mind, and I can't even be trusted to make an appointment, except for today. I made my appointment right on time today at this location, this government building. I got here and I sat here and I waited for the meeting with you, sir. I made it here, did all that, and yet I'm covered in shit. No, I'd send that guy right to the front line. Shit squad for you. All right, 37B, left door. Like I
probably would have pulled some nonsense to not go to Vietnam.
There's wrestling's in a really good spot, and I'll say this. Unfortunately, I got to dip out. But wrestling's in a really good spot right now. Where, firstly, you have a lot of promotions doing really, really good work. Like it's not just WWE anymore. There's WWE, there's AEW. Then AEW owns Ring of Honor, which is kind of its own split off thing, but it's still very much AEW. So Ring of Honor is the promotion where like a lot of the current stars right now came from. So CM Punk, Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, right now the current world heavyweight champion in WWE, which is Seth Rollins. He came from there as well. So they had a lot of like really good wrestlers coming from that. So it's really cool that promotion continues to live on. It had a lot of problems, so it was pretty cool. Then there's Impact Wrestling, and then there's also like wrestling happening in Japan, New Japan Pro Wrestling, because like the borders have just merged so much now. Where back then it used to be so separate. You know what happened in Japan Japan. Like Brock Lesnar was the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. It was actually one of its more famous ones. Not a lot of people know about it in WWE because when he left, he went to Japan and wrestled over there and got better and became a bigger star. Then he came over and started doing UFC
commercials. They're
Oh
funny.
yeah. Like it was really cool.
Let me
You know?
ask you this: what
He's like, hold on,
What is
Shinoze,
it-
energy. And it's like,
What
just
is
like
about-
something like that.
What do you like about professional wrestling? But before you answer, let me tell you what I don't like and why I can't get into it, and I couldn't be a real fan.
Sure.
If I were to turn it on, what I usually see is there's the backstage thing where they act poorly and sort of hype up why we're mad at each other, maybe, or what the new drama is, sort of the behind the scenes in the back rooms, the hallways of the arena. I don't like that. But I like the highlights of that because they're funny. When Booker T dropped the N-bomb, hilarious. So then I go to, I really like when they're out there and they're on the microphone and they're being very slick with it. Only the creme de la creme of that is interesting, though, because otherwise it's two guys in bikini briefs shouting at each other. And I don't like that because it's silly.
Yeah.
And then the wrestling itself, I don't like. I don't like the wrestling itself. I don't like seeing them bounce around on the ropes and throw each other. I'm not impressed by it. I'm impressed by their toughness. I understand its toughness. I'm not one of those guys who's like, it's fake. Who cares?
I
get that they're doing physical feats.
Well, you've seen the blend enough as well, you know, from like UFC fighters coming over to WWE and experiencing like, it's a different kind of pain, you know, like that's how it's always described to me. Like, you know,
smacked around. But what do you like? Why do you?
So
it's an event.
What
What gets you going?
Okay, so a few things, right? Because all right, firstly, I love the live environment of professional wrestling. It's super fun. There's really not a lot of things like it because everyone that's there is a fan of something that's going to happen on the show. So they always have something to look forward to, which is really cool. And it's just a really, really cool environment to be a part of, right? Depends on the show and where it is, but for the most part, like I have mostly gone to New York and LA, and it's been amazing every single time I've gone. So that's the experience part of like going to a live show, but like turning on the TV each and every week and watching it. And I'll be honest, I don't do it as much as I used to. Like back in the day, like when you were talking about Stone Cold and The Rock and everything, like I was watching Monday Night Raw all the time because it was so. It was awesome, but also we have to remember like our attention wasn't as pulled as it is now. There's like a freaking metric fuck ton of things that want your attention, whether it's streaming services or sports or video games or whatever. It wasn't necessarily like that back then. So that's why we were so dialed in the Attitude Era, right? And I really enjoyed it. But if you go back and watch the actual wrestling, that is going to the second thing that I really love, which is the actual technicality of professional wrestling. It is an art form. It is different. It's unique. It has its own rules and its own like methodology, and it may not make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but you know, fuck it, man. It's entertainment. It's meant to be cool. It's meant to be fun, or just enjoy yourself. Like I know that like when I throw a person against a rope, the natural thing isn't that he's going to turn around and just immediately come back and run at me. You know, like I just stop in my tracks, turn around and kick the guy in the balls. You know, that's the most logical thing to do, but it's a performance. So, you know, you kind of go with everything. And I think that's like really where it is. Like it's a performance. I don't look at it as a fight because it's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's a performance.
Like medieval times without dinner.
Yes, but more entertaining. And I like medieval times. Don't get me wrong.
Arguably
than medieval times. That's true.
Dude.
You know, I've never been. I tried to go twice, and I remember I tried to go one time. You know what they fucking do? They pull up the drawbridge when the show starts.
Oh.
I wanted to go, and they had pulled up an actual drawbridge.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Like when you go to medieval times, you may like get there and be like, "This is gonna be fucking stupid." It's pretty fun. Like it's pretty,
I was excited.
Furnish game hen with your hands. And like
pop a couple edibles and just go nuts, man.
I was a child, but
I was gonna say, would you still like it as an adult?
Yes.
I don't know if I mean I do like Cornish game hen, but they had the adults had like these old timey looking mugs of like mead
Steins.
or probably some kind of old timey alcohol, and I remember looking at those and being like, that looks so fun. Like that's because we just got like little soda cups. We didn't get to drink out of the big like horn looking things. The Steins, like
We went to a Pirates one
plastic horn
here,
Stein.
and that's like
and then a thing that holds the horn.
No, this was,
No,
this was medieval times in fucking Branson, dude. There was not that.
yeah. Inside of the horn was a K cup, actually, or not a K cup, a solo cup, and then you take the solo cup out, and then you got to give him the horn back. That's usually how it
You
works.
want the horn ceremony?
Yeah.
They only got
They just
so
give
many.
you a horn that's curved, and you're like, I just have to
I
hold
still
this.
want to go.
Like-
Like I'm gonna.
You should though. It is fun. It's look, my advice,
Go.
because I went
I
to
think
this
I'll go.
Pirates one that's close by here, and you just go get drunk,
Pirates.
pop a few edibles, and have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They have
it's the same
pirates instead
concept.
of
It was
knights?
Pirates instead of Knights. Same exact concept. They were all trying to do a thing. They all had colors, and
Yeah.
one was purple, one was yellow, one was red, and then there were people cheering, and there was a pirate ship with water, and it was actually kind of cool. But the food was just utter trash.
Dude,
but again,
like, right
that's
after
what you're
we're
going for.
done, right after we've concluded our foot race, we should reward ourselves with medieval
There it
times.
is. I'm telling you guys, the content writes
Taylor,
itself.
this is a brilliant plan.
I think we
I know
should
it
have
is.
our-
Me and Woody are
I
going to
think-
work up quite an appetite for Cornish game hen as
No,
we're
I think we
blowing
should
your
have our
ass
foot
out.
race during a performance at medieval times.
Oh, we should just jump
and the
in
foot
there and
race-
see who
No,
can
no, no,
last
we can set
longer
this
against the
up.
security guards.
This is going to be just like when I did that thing with Tilted Kilt. We'll all get paid too. So we're going to be in costume when we do our foot
I'm
race,
in.
and we're not just racing for the finish line. We're running for the swords.
Yes.
The weapon rack is over there, and there's 3 different weapons. There's
I
a
support this.
sword, maybe a pole arm, and a whip. No, a net. A net. I like the net. I'm
Dude,
not
I
going
would
for that net.
fuck your ass up with a pole arm. If those are the other 2 options, you're done. And because you're slow as shit and Woody's old,
Let's not forget about
I
that.
might make it there first.
See, what you don't know is that Woody and I have conspired against you.
Mm.
It doesn't even matter. I'm too powerful.
And after I net you,
I'm too virile. You guys put both your hands on one of my arm. I'm tearing that shit right
we're
out.
going to do that thing where Woody gets on all 4s behind you and I push you.
You push me.
You can't. There's no counter to that. You're done.
Yeah,
There
maybe.
really
I mean,
isn't.
if I get a hand on you though, I've got simian grip strength. I'll separate your hand right from the wrist.
You'll be wearing greaves.
wearing greaves.
We'll
Dude, that
all
would
be
actually-
wearing greaves.
Yeah,
Instead of medieval times, hear me
you
out.
bring your own greaves.
We go to
Always.
like
Yeah,
I don't know,
man's
Major
greedy.
League
Bad
Soccer
luck.
game.
Uh-huh.
We storm the field. Whoever stays on the field longest wins.
Dude, that would be
Genius.
so
What
hard.
do they get? What do they get? And each of them is wearing a
Arrested.
different
You get a night in
advertiser's shirt.
jail.
Like
All of
I've
us
got
get
the,
arrested.
we're wearing our shirts say lock and load, and they've got like a QR code, and we're just scrambling, trying to make enough advertising dollars to pay for bail.
Yeah.
Genius.
Subscribe to the Patreon. The $20 tier is getting me out of prison.
Did you guys hear about the Vince McMahon thing?
No, I heard that he stepped down because of some sort of allegations.
Yeah, so it appears that he's been sleeping with some hottie in his organization. And my understanding is he paid her off and should have had her silence, and he didn't get what he paid for.
Son of
I really feel like she is guilty of some sort of contract violation.
yeah, breach of
Knowing
contract.
nothing, you're making some points.
Breach.
I mean, if Vince McMahon can't sleep with his employees, who can he sleep with? Yeah, I just
This guy is on the ageless shit. You look up
yes.
Vince McMahon 2022, like he's like almost 80. He's like only a couple years younger than Trump, and like look at Trump's dog shit body compared to this just trenbolone sandwich
Well, he's
of
Vince McMahon's trying. Like I feel like it's not that Trump doesn't expend a lot of energy, right? Because look, let's admit that he won presidents in the United States and he did the job for 4 years. It's a really hard thing to accomplish and to do. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not putting any effort into his body. This guy puts effort into his body.
yeah. That's
That looks
a good-looking
shopped
76-year-old.
He should have put his head on straight. I don't
A
buy
few
it.
years ago, he was much bigger. Like he's
Mhm.
been on the juice for a long time. He was jacked like a decade ago or so.
Dude, and he was probably 77. Like,
Yeah, it's wild he's still alive. Like usually the people who are juicing that long kind of punch out early.
is that a good call? Right? Like, Kyle, I'm going to take this to an extreme, right?
Yeah. Look, Jesus.
You are going to be a professional UFC fighter until you're 32, and then I don't know, just celebrity of some sort until you're 55. You live the whole thing rich. Women are throwing their underwear at you until your last day, which is 57, and you tip over. Right? Do you want to be that guy? Or would you rather be, this is a little fucking badass and awesome, but would you rather be like a certified public accountant who lives a normal life all the way until,
I think
retires at 65?
the first life.
And then has 15 more years.
The first life with the pussy and the steroids.
What? You're ready to be on your final 20, Kyle?
Yeah, let's go. I was on my final 10.
Taylor, you might be wildly overestimating.
What am I gonna do with the extra 10?
Because Woody's like, living to 57. I'm like, you just turned 49. Like you're at most 2 presidents away. Like
Taylor, what do I get for 54?
It's up to you. It depends what the trade-off is.
What's it to do? Like if you're a normal guy, gets to 70, it's like your cock stops working. Like, what are you gonna do? Just sit around and watch telly? Like
Vince McMahon's cock definitely still works.
Yeah, I use a little Bluetooth.
Take it from me. All right, it's like
it's like I mean, usually the it seems like the natural progression, like the natural progression of interest as you age. Like by the time you're like 70, all you want to do is spend time with like your grandkids and shit.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't want kids.
That's what it seems to be.
I think it's
I'm checking
like time is short, and they want to spend time with their grandkids. But if their back didn't hurt, and if their dick worked a little better, and if women were willing, they'd want to be out like slaying pussy at 70. That's what they want to do.
You think so?
Like, yes.
They don't want to because their T's low. But this guy,
Vince McMahon's isn't.
Vince McMahon's T is still super physiological.
He's still railing pussy at 80.
If I make it to 70s, I'm going to start abusing prescription pills. Like just let's do it. All of them. Fuck it. I'm 70. like that's a great time to get addicted to drugs. Like they'll be like, "Oh, you're taking all these pills?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And like, "How long have you been doing it?" Turned 73 months ago, having a blast. And they're like, "Oh, really? This is it's like, yeah, this is an intentional decision." Like, all right, I'll have a blast, man. Like enjoy it. In 20 years this is gonna, and I'm like, and they're like, "Oh, you're not gonna be here anyway."
Yeah,
I think once I hit 80, I'm just gonna start taking heroin because I don't want to do it now because I don't want to become a heroin addict for the rest of my life. I've got other shit I want to do
because that's a long time.
No, you do want to be a heroin addict for the rest of your life. You just want that rest period to be 19 months.
Be less, yeah. So I've got other shit I need to do, and I can't do that if I'm a heroin addict. But like once I'm 80 and I've done everything, then I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna start taking heroin. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Heroin and
heroin. Then you go to prison for your last year.
What's the
one? That's right. I'll experience everything.
Have you seen Bill Burr's take on the WNBA? It's in his most recent comedy thing. Dude, I love it. He's like, women let down the WNBA, not me. I watch tons of fucking sports. I watch the NBA. I watch football. I watch this. I watch the UFC. I can't get enough of it. What, I'm supposed to watch the WNBA? If you want women basketball players to be famous, you watch them. Why do I have to watch them? I already watched the guys play. You watch the girls play. It's women who aren't watching. And it's like, yeah, that's true, actually. There are no women watching the WNBA. Why is it Bill Burr's job to watch women play? Yeah. Like, it's not.
I want to say there was an instance recently where they were talking about like getting the pay straight, and they found out the women were actually making more or something like that, so they cut their pay.
Oh, that was the U.S. women's soccer team, I think, where they, without knowing how much the men's team made, were like, "We want as much as the men," and they're like, "You make more than the men. You're now making less."
Interesting, because the women, I was going to say are better. That's the wrong phrasing. They're more successful, right? They play against other women, and they're usually contenders. The American team they always podium, and they often win. Whereas the guys' team, they don't do that well.
No, I don't think men's soccer.
The best part is done well? I couldn't care less. It's just not a fun sport to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure if I was a European, I would like it. But
I'm sure if I'd been indoctrinated into it.
Sure.
That maybe, although
you watch baseball, I think that stands.
I was about to say, I watch some baseball. I'm not going to stab somebody over it like those hooligans across the world will.
That's another sport.
They get intense. I like that. I like their intensity.
They're into hockey and street fights.
Yeah.
I meant to say football.
Soccer,
I don't know. it just seems like there's not enough scoring. I mean, baseball suffers from the same thing, I guess, but at least there's
baseball. There's a good
baseball. There's this sort of back and forth struggle, but I guess there is in soccer too.
What's a normal baseball score? About 5-5? Call it ish normal. Obviously, it's not going to be a tie, but
sure. Sure, man. I think that's high scoring. Honestly, I think if I had to guess, I'd say the average is like 5 total scored runs. Like a 3-2 game feels average to me.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, between 4 and 5 runs. You're right. That's way
total
less
or per team.
Total.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So 10 was.
Or no, per team. 4 per team. So that's like 8 total. That's pretty good. That's way fucking higher than soccer.
People always dislike the blowouts, but I always loved it when we would just mop the floor with somebody and it'd be like a 17-run game or something. You'd have like an 8-run 5th inning. I love that.
Yeah, that's what's fun.
I'm pretty sure this is a while ago, but the Phillies were down by 15 runs coming into the 9th, and they came back and won. And the ownership left the game and didn't watch the end, and they roasted them and poured drinks on them and stuff like that. I think it was a good-hearted thing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I think that last time I looked, I think the Mets were ahead of the Braves. Thankfully,
3.5 games up, which is not a lot in baseball, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, it's August.
Well, the Cardinals are only half a game behind Milwaukee for the top of Central, as I knew before I opened this page. because I follow what's going on.
I mean, that's 7 games total, but I'm sure we have at least a couple of series against the Mets before the year's up. So that's the cool thing about that is we get our chance. The best team's going to get there because the Mets and the Braves are going to play again, and we can sweep a 3-game series and be right in it. Yeah,
I like your phrasing. Yeah, and I like your whole thought line. The better team is going to win. We're going to play each other. There's an opportunity for us to come back or, lose the lead, but better team will win.
Yep, we'll get our chance.
A lot of sports, basketball needs less scoring. It needs to be less scoring in basketball.
Look, about how I fixed the NBA 4 years ago. You remember that, right? When I
remember you had some theories.
Get one of those fucking behemoths off the court for each team and play 4-on-4 basketball.
4-on-4 basketball, 15-foot hoops.
I said 12, but
trampolines.
I see where you're headed. Well, they already tried the trampolines. That didn't pan out.
Yeah, but the amount of shattered ankles you got to see in jump ball or whatever that game was called.
Pretty cool.
Do you remember that when they had it on Spike TV? I remember watching it and being too young to realize this was not the emergence of a new popular sport that was going to take the world by storm. I was still in Africanized bee mode of thought process. And I was like, I can't wait for this to be on TV. I wonder what team St. Louis will have in the basketball trampoline
can't wait till we can wait till my high or until your high school has
until high school and I can be on the team.
Dude, basketball trampoline. I think someone broke their leg every weekend.
Every game. So dumb. It wasn't mostly trampolines. There were 3-foot iron sheets in between the trampolines with a thin bit of mesh on top, and people would come down hard.
And
they'd fall with
part of the way it works.
One leg would stay on the matting, and the other would go between the trampoline and the floor, down under. It wedged in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was absurd.
And the way you play defense in trampoline is you're coming and I jump in front of you and dead tramp it, or I super tramp it, and the whole they were good and it was crazy and it was so dangerous, but it was good TV.
I would like to talk to someone who played in that league today and hear what that was like, and that I wonder are those people who maybe played on some small college basketball team and they're oh, y'all starting up the trampoline basketball league? Fuck yeah, man.
Right.
Milwaukee Devil Rays? Okay, let's go.
I'll see if I can get off from my UPS job right now.
Yeah, I got Thursdays off.
Can we push the game to 7?
Sure. The cameraman says yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool if that was still a game.
The XFL is what I thought was going to be
coming
cool.
back.
No, it's not. Vince McMahon got metoo'd and he's having to step down from everything. He's definitely not bringing the XFL back.
Oh, no,
so look, if Vince McMahon had sexually assaulted a woman, I would be anti-McMahon. But it's my understanding that she was well compensated for her time and that she was a beneficiary in this until she decided she wasn't happy anymore.
Is that true?
Well, I mean, I just said it.
Well, it sounds like she was a liar. Is this one of those scenarios where he paid her to keep quiet and now she's not keeping quiet and she owes him a lot of money?
I think the opposite. Maybe. So, he's going to make a bit. We're being fact checked on it.
Well, that's irrelevant. Well, we're talking about whether he should be Me Too'd or not, right?
So, all right. Noted. Vince doesn't own the XFL. I think the first time he might have. But
he's a big part of it.
Yeah, right. Wasn't Trump a big part of it the first time?
I think he was like, I think Trump slides into things. He's like, just call me a producer and I'll be here promoting you. Like I think he's real sleazy and slimy like that.
Just slide me onto the end credits.
Yeah.
In any case, I thought he had a good relationship with this woman who was working for him indirectly. Of course, he's at the very top. She didn't direct report. And then somewhere along the way, she decided that because I worked for you, this wasn't okay, and you owe me extra cash.
Well, that's a shame because Vince is in a lot of my favorite internet memes. There's the one where he's like, like melting down, like more and more and more. Great meme. And
the money walk that Conor McGregor borrowed.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, strut. I think it's
yeah. Okay, I like the strut.
The gif of that strut. That's a very good strut. I like that.
Another good meme. Yes.
He gets tackled by Trump. That was a meme. He let Trump tackle him because he was jacked and Trump was
as
fat.
if he could have stopped him.
Yeah. Are you suggesting that if he stood in front of the Trump train, he would stop it?
I mean, it depends how much inertia Trump has. Because if Trump is running at you, that he's got a low center of gravity. Huge quads,
Trump
huge
is
abs.
cut from a different cloth. Okay. What you got to understand is you're dealing with a super athlete. You're not just dealing with someone who was born into something, who was born to do a thing. But you're also talking about someone. He always had the makings of a varsity athlete. And he's not only been like raised to do this, born to do this, if you will, perhaps prophesized to do this from long ago. But he's been training every day. Devoting himself to it. He's just a master.
Yeah, he could have been anything. He could.
So the XFL is coming back in 2023, Kyle. So it's the XFL is coming back. The 8 cities are Dallas, Houston, Las Vegas, Orlando, San Antonio, Seattle, St. Louis, DC.
No team in Atlanta, huh?
No Atlanta team yet.
Trust me, we'd have gotten behind something like that. Okay, Falcons fucking blow.
Of course they would. Georgians love football,
and we know how to get low brow here. Okay, like we would love a few more UFC events as well. It's bullshit there aren't any here. I don't remember the last one that was here. I would go and sit in the shitty seats that suck and look at a big screen and hurt my neck. I would go.
If the UFC held an event in Raleigh, I would definitely think about going and then watch it on TV, admiring how cool it was that it was nearby.
Wow, that's right here. As you walk to the fridge.
I would
could have gone to that.
I would go and I would.
North Carolina's on TV.
Sorry, Kyle.
I want the tickets that are near the walkout area. Like I want to get like a really close look at the fighters to kind of like. It sounds stupid to phrase it this way, but size them up. Like I want to get a real world perspective of how big this human being is, because I've had good enough baseball tickets before that I was just like, holy shit, you really are 6'4", 240, huh? Jesus, that is a big man. But I wonder if I saw like, I don't know, someone that was like 145 pounder, if I'd be like, huh, you are a little guy. Or if I'd be surprised that they walk around like 190 on fight day. I don't know. I'd like to see them closer.
Well, hopefully they bring one.
Obviously, I saw Joe plenty of times. Definitely bigger than 155.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
The coolest thing about being there in person, and most of it's less cool than TV, but the coolest part about being there in person is you get to look at what you want to. And in my case, that's the losers. Like you watch them fight and you really only see the winners. That guy that's knocked out, laying on the ground, suffering, the guy that's had the worst day of the last 5 years right now at his lowest low, whose team is trying to pick him up like physically and morally, I don't know. And emotionally, I should say. Like, it's fun to watch that guy. It's the cameras go. If a guy's having a really hard time, the cameras aren't on him anymore. It's done. You're just seeing the winner jumping around. And
they spare him that.
Yeah, But when you're there, you get to see that. You get to see him walk back to the locker room or get carried.
And you can scream at him, and there's like what you can wait until he's concussed, and everything he thought was going to come to fruition has failed. His dreams have like crumbled right before his eyes, like 30 seconds before, and he's got a little brain injury, and you're right there to spit in his eye. You can really give him what happened, and you like call him whatever like mean name he doesn't like hearing.
It's easy to forget that half the people that play that night lose.
No, I like when they console the guy who lost, but usually what you see is he's so concussed, he's walking by and they're like, "It's okay, Jim," and he's like, "Get the fuck off me! I don't know who you are. The fuck are you?"
Yeah, I was at the fight where Joe Lozon lost to Anthony Pettis. It was in Tokyo. And his memory starts up again back in the locker room like 7 minutes later.
Fuck.
And it was I talked to one of his cornermen, and he basically explained that it was emotionally difficult on him to carry Joe back to the locker room. He's like, I got to do, and it was like it was hard on him emotionally.
Yeah.
It's like shit. That's the stuff you only get when you're there, because that's not on film.
Yeah, it's real sad, and I don't think you get that in many other sports. It sucks to lose a game of anything, but man, when it's all on your shoulders, when there's no one else to look to, when it's just you, and then not only that, not only did you lose, but you were physically beaten, you were assaulted, you're bleeding and broken, and your brain doesn't quite work well. So processing all of what I just said is difficult in a way that it's never been before.
Listener, I don't know if you've lost a fight before, but it's embarrassing. Like, everyone knows you lost. Like, you just got beaten by another man 1v1 in a very pure form of combat sport. And there's no excuses. There's no team to hide behind. There's nothing. It's just you were defeated by that guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that's funny, but
it is. It is. I think it is.
It surprises me that professional athletes like Chael Sonnen, for example, has talked about it, where he's embarrassed that he lost in front of. He's like, I was there with no shirt on. Everyone saw me, and I lost like straight up to this guy. Is like, everyone knows about it. It's embarrassing, and I'm just like, really? Because I don't think of it as something that should be embarrassing to you. One, you're a pro who's been here before. And two, that guy you were fighting was outrageous.
Yeah.
Right?
He's also a professional. Like,
yeah. Dude, if I rolled with anyone who's ever been in the UFC, I would lose. And I would be like, yeah, well, obviously.
I think I think you could take BJ Penn after he's had a night of drinking and you've got your foot healed up. Like, I'll say this. I know it's time to do ads, but like, you make BJ Penn do 7 shots of tequila and you wait for it to kick in. Give him a good 20 minutes. And then Woody taps him on the shoulder and says, "Let's fucking go." And then Woody grabs him. Woody wins that fight.